Democracy is defined by the Spanish Royal Academy as a political doctrine in which sovereignty resides in the people who exercises power directly or through a representative elected by them.
We all know this word. We always use it in school at the civic and ethics training class. But do we really know the depth and the meaning of it?
Separating it as an insignificant and etymological way, the word democracy simply means the power of the people, while from the point of view of philosophy, this word has an even greater depth.
Philosophy includes democracy as the state and political and economical system in which all men are equal and free. This is not only before the law but also in the relationships that occur in society.
Knowing well what the word means and bearing in mind its importance, we must now ask ourselves a question that many of us have tried to avoid because of the dispute of the answers that may arise.
Is democracy the best form of government or the form of government that all countries should have? A question that we will be analyzing in depth with the greatest sources of information we can collect.
We will do this by focusing mainly on Mexico and its current society. Is the population of Mexico really ready for this system of government?
Has this system had good or bad results? Some questions that are necessary to ask them and that almost nobody is encouraged to comment and analyze them.
Like every great movement or idea, there are always people against and in favor of it.
People against and in favor of democracy have emerged throughout the history of mankind, since their arrival to Greece more than 4,000 years ago.
Democracy is a word with Greek origin. It was coined by the people of Athens to refer to their own form of government, which was established in the last years of the 6th century before Christ. Although it is always difficult to ascertain the exact moment when a word begins to be used, our term appears in Herodotus, a historian and geographer of the 5th century before Christ, as the name of a form of government already discussed.
In Mexico, it is a different story. Our country is known for a lot of things. One of them is to be late in changes, and in democracy, Mexico was certainly late and not ahead of its time. In the history of Mexican democracy, the first half of the 19th century was covered with the cloak of inexperience. 3 centuries with a monarchical and anti-liberal political structure did little help the rapid consolidation of the novel form of government for Mexicans, mentioned in the Article 5 of the 1824 Constitution, a representative, popular, and federal republic.
One of the great characters in favor of this system was the great philosopher Aristotle, who recognized dozens of works in relation with democracy.
Even if he was considered a great support to his system of government, this was not from the beginning of his work.
At the beginning of his work, Aristotle tells the reader that democracy is the most flawed system of government ever developed, and the same flawed thought remains the same constantly in it.
If something is attributed to him, it's his change of thought, not thinking that democracy is a good system, but that among all the systems of government present, democracy is the least beautiful because it is the one that fades less than the republic that many were looking.
Although they are very obvious points in favor, they need to be highlighted. Even so, like a coin, you always have two sides of the same thing.
Many philosophers have risen with the idea that democracy is not as suitable for everyone to practice or should not be practiced at all.
One of these was Plato, with his well-established thoughts, and this rejected democracy as the best form of government that could have been implemented.
He always rejected the idea that anyone can be elected to a position and leader, and at the same time that anyone, regardless of their virtues, can make the decision of who will lead.
This compares democracy with a ship sailing at the sea. According to democracy, anyone can choose and be elected to govern. Platon clarifies that democracy is like a ship in which all navigators are inexperienced, and one will never get on it.
According to him, not everyone has the capacity to think clearly and rationally to make this kind of decisions and lead and guide others.
So far, we have one man who affirms that democracy could be the best form of government, and one who affirms that it is the worst decision of all.
Yet, we still haven't an answered question. Is democracy the best way to govern a country?
Obviously, it's not possible for all of us to reach an agreement in which we support firmly one of these two ideologies.
Having debated among our team members, we have decided to support this form of government. Since, as Aristotle said, it might be a mistake, but among so many other failed systems of government, democracy is the least harmful.
Even saying only this, there are many more arguments why we think that democracy is a viable option of government. There are two specific arguments that make us verify our position in this issue. It has been said that democracy protects the personal freedom of each of the related individuals in it. But the truth is that you may have flaws in it. No matter how hard you try, you can never respect the freedom of every individual involved. Even so, the truth is that among all the political and government systems that have been used, democracy is the one that most respects this freedom that every individual enjoys.
Democracy let us make mistakes. This is why many believe that democracy is a good system only if it is used by the educated and privileged. But it is for this very reason that we believe it is a great system. It allows us to have our own mistakes from which we can learn and improve more every day. If we make the wrong decision, we will not take it next time because we have learned what to do and what not to do. It will help us grow as people and as citizens in a community where defects are embraced as they help us strengthen our understanding and take better and optimal decisions in the not so distant future. It let us educate ourselves while practicing it.
Perhaps this system has a lot of mistakes. It is thanks to these mistakes that we decided to improve not only as individuals, but as a group and as a population.
Maybe, if there are people who are not so apt to make decisions, but it is our duty to help them to optimize this point in our government. Rome? I don't know, I told in one day. It was mistake after mistake after mistake.
Only ourselves are able to recognize our failures and from them improve and forge a better future.
Democracy, the vision of an utopia in which all people help and make decisions in general. A dream that each day comes closer to reality.